Welcome back to LarryB YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to learn how to make this beautiful wrap skirt that we see here. It's a very simple skirt tutorial and it's beginner friendly. I'm going to take you through how to cut and sew this in this class. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. This is an overlap skirt, okay, and the overlap run from one side of the skirt to the other, which means we need to have a full body to be able to do this. So because of that, you are going to be putting your pattern on fold to cut this. So after putting it on fold, you just need to, this is going to be your waist measurement, of course. So from your waist, you're going to mark your hip. So this is going to have like a 1-inch band, so I'm deducting that from my hip measurement and I'm going to be marking my hip line. Then after that, you're going to mark the full length. Okay, that's the length of the pencil skirt before you add your flare to it. So that is totally up to you as well, depending on where you want this to be. So I have marked mine, and then I'm going to go ahead and make this into a straight line. After marking this, you go ahead and mark your waist measurement. The waist I am working with for this is 37 inches. So this 37 inches, I'm going to divide it into 4, and that will be my waist measurement. I'm just dividing my tape rule into 4, and I have 9.25. So that's my waist. There's no dart, so I just mark the 9.25, and the hip I'm working with is 46. So 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. So I'm going to mark that as well. So I'll add my seam allowance to that, and the same measurement that I have here, I'm going to take it down to the hem, and I'll go ahead and connect all of this. So there is no zipper, so the back and front is going to be cut the same way. There's no zipper in this, so no zipper allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So I'm done cutting it now, and this is going to be, this is a pattern, so I'm going to be using this for both my front and my back. I hope you understand that. So I'm just going to mark out how the front is going to be. I'm going to mark it out, but I'm not going to cut it yet. I'm going to use it to cut out the back first before shaping it to cut the front. So when you open it out now, I'm going to be covering it like this from one side to the other. That was why I said this has to be on fold. So depending on the shape that you're going for, I'm just going to follow my curved ruler like this. So I can just go ahead and make it go inwards or outwards. It's totally up to you. So I'll start covering from where my seam allowance is, because I'm going to be using this seam allowance to sew. So I'm not going to start my covering there. So I'll just place my curved ruler like this and then mark. Okay, my curved ruler obviously cannot take everything at once, so I'm going to be doing it in bits. So when I go to this lower part as well, I'll mark the seam allowance, and that's where I'm going to stop the covering. So I'm going to set the ruler in a way that it matches all these points, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So like I said, if this is fine with you, you can work with this. If you feel this is too low, you can take it up a little bit. It's totally up to you. So this is the shape that we're going to be going for the front, and when we want to cut the back, this is what we are going to cut out. Like I said, I'm just going to be working with one pattern, so I'm going to place this to cut my back first before I go ahead and slash this off to cut the front. So when you are cutting for front, for the back, you're going to cut back on fold. Okay, this part you place this part and cut on fold when you are cutting the back. But when you are cutting the front, after we have slashed all of this, for the front you are going to be cutting two. I hope you understand that you're going to be cutting two because they are lapping on each other for the front, but for the back, this pattern is going to be on fold. So for the flare, I'm going to try to calculate the measurement that I'm going to need for my flare. So the flare is going to run through your back like this on the hem of the back, and then it's going to come on this style line that we have on the front. So for the hem of the back, I'm going to try to measure what I have there, and here I have about 23 inches. Okay, so you're going to continue this with what you have in front, and you know for the front you are going to be cutting two. So it means if you measure this area for the front, you are going to be multiplying it into two because we're going to have two for the front. I've already measured the total that I need for the back. Remember, it's already on fold like this. So for the back I have 23. For the front, I'm simply going to measure what I have here, and after measuring it I have about 29, let's say 30 inches. So if I have 30 inches, that's 60. If I multiply into two, that's 60 for the front alone. Remember, the front is what we are multiplying to two, so we are multiplying this measurement and we have 60. So I'll simply add the 23 that I already have here, and that's going to leave me with 83 inches. So to cut the flare is going to be a full circle flare. So the 83 inches that I have as my total hem, I'm going to divide it by 6.28. So whatever you have is going to be the radius of your flare. Okay, the length of the flare now is how long you want the skirt to be. I hope you get that. So I want to cut my flare first so that I can manage fabric. After cutting the flare, I'm going to use it to the rest of my fabric to cut out the front and back. That's why I'm calculating it this way. So after dividing this, I have about 13.2. So you need to know the length. That's the longest length that you want your skirt to be. So you're going to deduct the length that we have already worked with here. I already have 20 inches here. So I'm going to be deducting this from my full length. I think between 50 to 60 inches is okay for me. So let's say you're working with 15 inches length to complete your skirt. You're going to need to add this 15 to the 13.2 that you already have. That's what you're going to use to fold your fabric. I hope you understand that. So like I said, I'm working with just a little over 2 yards of fabric, so I'm trying to manage fabric, and the flare is very important, so I'm going to be cutting the flare first. So now I have folded my fabric into four. Like I said, it's a full flare. When you're cutting a full flare, you need to fold your fabric into four. Okay, you're going to fold into two first like this, then after folding into two you fold into four, which is what I have here. So I'm going to start taking the measurement from the apex point, which is here. So I want to first mark the full length that I have, and I have about 29 inches. So I'm going to mark that all around. Then I'm going to remove my radius. I'm sure we are familiar with this process already. So I've marked the full length and I also marked my radius. So I'm going to grab my scissors and then I'll go ahead and cut this out. So I'm done cutting it now. We are still going to shape it, but I'm going to leave it for now and work on the pattern on the upper part. So I have little fabric left, so I'm going to try and place my fabric anyhow I know I can manage it. So you fold your fabric into two and then you place the pattern to cut the back. Remember I said the back has to be cut on fold. So I'm cutting the back first. So after cutting the back, this is what you're going to have. You can see it's cut together. So we are going to cut off the shape that we created for the front, and then we are going to be cutting two of the front. So this shape that we have, I'm going to cut it off. Okay. So this is what I have for the front now. I'm going to go ahead and put my fabric on fold and then cut two of these. I've folded my fabric and then I've pinned the pattern on it. So you just cut this out. So folding the fabric means that you are cutting two together. So like I said, my fabric, so that's how you can manage your fabric, because flare consume more fabric and you have to cut it together. So it's better to just cut the flare first, and when you're done cutting your flare, you can be able to place your pattern anyhow around the remaining fabric that you have, so that you can cut out the upper part. So I'm done cutting this out as well, and this is what I have. So I'm going to place it so that you can see how they are going to lap on each other. You can notch the midpoint, but it doesn't really matter, just match it to the side. This is what I have now. So this is the side that is full, and this is the other side. So we're going to be placing them on each other. I'm trying to look for the size that corresponds with each other. Yeah. So it's just going to be like this. You can see the overlap shape that we have. So I'm going to go ahead now and place the back on it. Then you're going to be joining it by the side. Okay, so you're going to place your back and then sew them by the side so that they can become one single piece. You sew on here, and then on the other side as well, you're going to sew to the sides before we attach the flare. I've gone ahead to sew them together, and this is what I have. I have one long strip of fabric, okay, one skirt together. That's what I mean. So now you're going to shape the flare to fit into this. If you want to add, if your fabric is transparent, if you want to add lining, you just need to cut your lining the same way and then use it to sew. And also if you want to hide your seam allowance, you can just cut lining for the back and then you sew it in a way that the seam allowance is going to be inwards like this. So for me, I'm just going to weave the edges. So like I said, we have already cut out our flare, so I'm just going to bring the flare. Remember, this is the longest part of the flare and we cannot sew that to the edge of the front. It's going to be too big, so we need to shape that. So to do this, I'm going to put it on fold by two. Remember, we have two ends for the front, so it's on fold by two like this. So what I just need to do is to step down a little bit here, maybe by 1 inch or 2 inches, depending on what you want basically, and then we're going to be connecting that to what we have coming here. So just to put a measurement to it, I'm going to be dividing the hem by 4. Okay, dividing it by 4, I think should be around here, or you can just measure anything you want, and then I'm going to connect from there to meet up with the new shape that I have like this. I hope you understand that. So after connecting, you're going to grab your scissors and then cut out that shape. You can connect anyhow you want, it doesn't have to follow what I did here. So from there now, I'm going to go ahead now and start trimming off that point all the way to this new edge. So this is my front and back. It's going to be my center front, the two center fronts. Okay, and then the longest part, which is this closed part, is going to be your back, your center back. You can notch it. So we're almost done. The skirt is simple. All you just need to do now is to bring in the skirt that you have already sewn, and then you start joining your flare to it from, remember these are the two fronts, so you start joining from front to front, right side facing each other. So you look for the side that corresponds. This is the side that corresponds with this side, so I'm going to place it like this, and then I'm going to sew You can see I'm going to sew it all around like that. I'm gonna head to sew it, and this is what I have. You can see my flares are joined to it now. So remember, we shape it at the opening part. If you fit it and you feel that it is still big, all you just need to do is to fold it together like this. Make sure the center fronts are on each other, and then you can go ahead and reshape, which is what I am about to do, because I feel it's still big on the center front area. So I'm going to shape it more. I'm going to cut it more. So you just make sure that you align it well like this before you cut. So after aligning it, I'm going to grab my scissors, and from here I'm going to curve it inward more. So you can see what I'm cutting off from this. So I'm curving it inwards more, and I think I'm okay with what I have now. So after that, you're going to go ahead and weave the edge, or you hem it. So the last thing to do now is to fix our band. Remember, it's a wrap skirt, so you should cut a band that is long enough to cover the waistline, a band that will be long enough to cover the entire waistline. Remember, the waist is wrapped, so it's very big, and then you should have enough length for your straps as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fix my band. So after fixing the band, I'm going to bring it back to show you where I'm going to be making the hole to wrap the band. Okay, so I've gone ahead to hem it all around, okay, so that it can be neat. Then this part where we join the flare, you go ahead and set it. I've hemmed this, I'm done hemming it, and also I have fixed my belt. So you cut out the excess thread that you have. So like I said, it's a wrap skirt, so you choose the side that you're going to be laying on top of each other. So after choosing your side, you go ahead by the side seam. Remember, this is where we joined it. You're going to make like a buttonhole here. So after making the buttonhole, you are going to cut it off. So you can actually do this on both sides if you want to be wearing it both ways. Okay, you can do it to the two sides. If you want to be wearing it on just one side, just make the buttonhole on just one side, and then you're going to open it up when you are done. So after opening it up, you're going to have enough space to pass your band, your rope. The rope should be cut in excess. So what this means is that we are going to be taking it from here, and then I'm going to insert it into this opening that I created like this. I'll bring it out from there. So you're going to be laying the next one on it, and then we tie it at the back. If your rope is long enough, you can also tie at the front, but this is what I'm going to have when I lay them on each other like this. So I'm going to go ahead and iron it neatly, and then I'm going to bring it back to show us what we have. So you can see how it's lapping on each other. So you just bring it to the back, and then you tie your rope. It is that simple. So this overlap that we have here, if yours is too long, you can still reduce it anyhow you want. It's totally up to you, but I advise that you fit it first to see how it looks like before you cut, so that you don't cut too much. You can see where mine is lapping around here, and I'm okay with it. So I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. So this is what we have. This is what it looks like on the mannequin. You can see this is how you're going to wear it. You just need to pass your rope through the hole, and then you tie it at the back, or you bring it to the front. Like I said, if you want to tie it both ways, you just need to make your hole both ways, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful sketch with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.